throw themselves against one another. We have survived this long not by strength, but by seizing opportunity when it so eagerly presents itself.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Stellaris. Before we dive into the Overlord DLC content, I want to thank Paradox for sponsoring this video. So, yeah, thanks, guys. Overlord is coming out, and with it, a bunch of fun ways to conquer the universe and eat your neighbors. Just as usual, the DLC is also coming alongside a free update, version 3.4, with a bunch of changes and enhancements. Some good stuff in here, like some big changes to how AI handles its fleets for war, and how the AI in the Galactic Federation and the Galactic community respond and function when they vote, so they won't push forward votes to ban stuff that they should be in support of, such as slave-running empires voting to ban slaves. Yeah, that was the thing that was happening. Another appreciated addition for the free update is the inclusion of why the AI is voting for certain resolutions, which you can gain if you've got enough intel on the target. So get to work, spies. It's all fairly interesting read. I'll put the 3.4 patch notes and the dev diary in the description. But let's get to it. The DLC, Overlord. Now, I've been playing Overlord for the last week or so, trying out all of the new starts, which I think is my favorite part of the expansion. Imperial Fiefdom, the Slingshot to the Stars, Subterranean, and the Progenitor Hives, of which I absolutely love the Progenitor Hive, didn't have a chance to play Slingshot, and the Subterraneans, I decided to make Space Dwarves, and that ended really poorly. I got eaten and then abused because I colonized a relic world, and the Holy Protectors were not so thrilled with that idea.
The dwarves delved too greedily and too deep.
Rookie mistake. You gotta watch where you dig. Too greedily and too deep, and then the relic, holy guys, smack you around. Oh, my poor dwarves. So let's talk about Subterranean. You know what? Too soon. Let's just talk about Progenitor Hives. We'll come back to Subterranean. This hive has gained evolutionary advantage through semi-independent leaders. These offspring greatly improve overall proficiency, though they require constant oversight. If you take Progenitor Hive, it'll replace the spawning pools with the offspring nests on planets. This will give a bonus to all of your menial drones and defensive armies. It'll also allow you to build offspring ships, which you have to keep with the fleet. You can even build one of these offspring leaders on stations to get bonuses in the system. Of course, I made my leader Merrigan for the legally distinct swarm. I had a lot of fun with this campaign, building up my hive and going on an all-consuming swarm of the galaxy. As soon as I take a planet, I throw down an offspring nest to give the growing drones all of their bonuses, while making sure my semi-independent leaders were still alive in the fleets and good to go, just so that I wouldn't lose the bonus, because once you've lost it, you take huge setbacks and negatives. Now, the one that I didn't get to try out was Slingshot to the Stars, because I think I'm going to save this one for release. This is probably the coolest concept. Slingshot to the Stars uses the new Ruined Quantum Catapult. You'll start with one. This catapult does exactly what it says on the tin. It is a catapult you can shove ships into and then lob them across the galaxy. The farther you go, the more inaccurate the thing gets, and you just end up somewhere within the region of where you aimed. Now, what's cool about this start, this origin, is that you get a bonus. New starbases built in remote systems cost 75% less influence if you take this, meaning you're not going to get massively punished for dropping flags everywhere on the other side of the galaxy where you decided to just lobby yourself, which is quite cool. Also, 75% less influence to just take remote systems. I want to see a game where I run around and just drop flags everywhere and have this empire spread all over the place. Sure, you might be able to conquer one planet, but can you conquer them all? Probably, but it'll be fun to try. This has to be the Empire of Intergalactic Dibs Law. Hey guys, Future Shack here. While I'm editing this, I realized that I never once say that this isn't all the features in this video that is actually in the DLC, because there's quite a bit. I didn't talk about the orbital rings, the new megastructure that's been put in. I didn't talk about the new enclaves. There's 2 of them that they've added, or 3, I think. And I didn't talk about I just totally skipped one of the new starts, one of the new origins, the Teachers of the Shroud. So just keep that in mind. All right, carry on. The third of the origin starts is the Imperial Fiefdom. Now, this is another one that I'm waiting until release to really dive into and play through a couple of games, or at least one big game in multiplayer, because here's what it does, and its weird interaction with multiplayer. So the Imperial Fiefdom, as you start as a vassal for an advanced AI empire. Now, if you're playing multiplayer and multiple players take this origin, you'll all start under the same AI empire. Meaning, if you want to start out trying to rise up and rebel against this one AI, you can totally do that. This immediately conjures images of me and a group of friends rising up against a feudal king and overthrowing the government, and then watching all the chaos that ensues. Now, the reason that the Imperial Fiefdom is cool is because they're changing how the vassal system works in this. And when you choose this start, you actually get to choose one of the 3 specific specialist empire vassal types. And this is really cool because this is completely new. Now that when you take in a vassal, you get to set the rules at which they live by. If you're forcing them to become a vassal, you'll have a lot more freedom to do so. And you can change whether or not they're going to be integrated into your empire eventually, if they'll have that right, if they're going to be able to vote in their own elections, if they're going to be able to self-govern or expand, or if they're not allowed to do any of that. And you get to dictate which ones become what kind of specialist groups, so they're super hyper-focused on one thing. They've also got a loyalty meter that they generate, so if you really retract all of those rights, that loyalty is going to go down. The 3 specialists are the Bulwark, which is your military defense. They're there to defend the Empire, the Kingdom. Prospectorians, which are great about gathering resources, and that's their focus. And the Scholarian, which are focused on research. As you're choosing one, they're going to be really weak in some of the other elements. So if you've got Scholarians, you're going to have to make sure you defend them. They're not going to be able to defend themselves. It's going to be up to you, but it means they're going to get hyper-focused and super useful for you. It makes the idea of playing with the feudal society civic far more interesting than it ever was before, and a bit more, I think, possible to be fun. All right, so the Subterranean. When I read this one, I immediately went and made straight-up dwarves. Here's what it is. Whether avoiding predators or seeking easier access to resources, this species has evolved to live under the surface of their homeworld, leading to a more environmentally versatile society. You start with the Cave Dweller trait. Your species construct city is underground, leading to 10% increase in building and district costs and a negative 10% to build speed. Your colony, here's the trick, suffers negative 75% damage from orbital bombardment. Basically, oh, you got a problem with me? You better come down here and say it to my face, because you're not going to be able to just sit there and bombard them from orbit anymore. So you're probably thinking, okay, so why did you make dwarves? Sure, they're underground, but that could be anything. Well, here's the Cave Dweller trait, and I think you'll understand. The trait gives a plus 50% minimum habitability on all worlds, so you'll never go below 50%. Minerals from jobs is increased by 15%. So your people are going to be bringing in far more minerals as they dig through the caves. Your empire's size from pops is plus 10%, so they're going to cost a bit more. And their biological pop growth is slowed, minus 20%. So they're going to be really slow growing. But 15% from all jobs as they dig into the earth. And they're hardy buggers that can survive just about anywhere, and they want to fight you face to face. If that ain't dwarves, I don't know what is. Mix that with feudal society, mining guilds, militarists, fanatic materialists, and you've got Carrick Twin Peaks. Oh, if only it had gone as well as I was hoping. I want to call it a series of bad starts. I even put them in a mountainous, snowy world, the Alpine world. But it seemed like everywhere they went, they pissed off somebody far stronger than they were. I'm going to try these guys again and hopefully get a good start going. But I never even not once was I able to actually get a single vassal. And I was really looking forward to the Federalists. The feudal system, the new feudal system, or the feudal system with the new vassal system built on top of it, I think is going to be really cool. But you got to be strong enough to get some vassals. Oh, the pain. Another system that I've just started tapping the surface of is the creation of mercenary enclaves. You can actually make them now. They're not just floating around in space waiting for you to hire them. You can create them yourself. They seem to pull that fleet. Once it's large enough, one of your fleets, you can hit a little button and it creates this company that runs. It has a little bit of loyalty towards you because you are their patron. And you can hire them when you want to. Other groups can hire them. And you can even push policies to make it so other empires get sanctioned when they're not using mercenaries. And you can fight proxy wars that way. It's all very weird and cool, and I need to experiment a bit more with it. In my game at the moment, I've got feudal society, mercenary, militarist dwarves running around. So that's a thing. I can only imagine they're all in there singing Diggy Diggy Hole. I'm going to be most likely streaming a bunch of this over on Twitch at twitch.tv/CaptainShack. If you'd like to join me, thanks again, Paradox, for sponsoring the video. If you want to play or check out the game, I have a link to their store page in the description below. So head on over there and check that out if you want to pick up the DLC. Thank you for the support. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole. Diggy, diggy.